What's up, everyone? It's Dakota, and welcome back to another Pioneer video. And today we're going to be talking about probably one of the most impactful cards that we have currently seen from the 6 cards spoiled in the new Ixalan set that we should be getting here, I believe, either end of this year, beginning of next year. We're going to take a look at Cavern of Souls' possible impact on the Pioneer format as well. Of course, before I get too deep into it, if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to see more videos like this, other modern content, and things of that sort, please consider subscribing, ring the notification bell, all that fun stuff. It keeps me making content and an easy, free way to support me in this journey that we have to 250. We're just right there. I'm thinking that we could probably even do a lot more, and there's a lot planned for this year as well, or for the rest of this year. So if you want to be a part of the journey and everything, consider subscribing to the channel, ring notification bell, all that fun stuff, and join the Discord server as well. There's a link in the description for that as well. So, Cavern of Souls. For the uninitiated, Cavern of Souls is a reprint from the Avacyn Restored set, that was like from the early 2010s, early 2010s. So, Cavern of Souls says that when it enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type, it taps for a colorless mana, and you can add a mana of any color. You can tap it to add a mana of any color, and you spend that mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type, and that spell can't be countered. Now, we've seen cards like this. There's I believe there's a land from the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty set that cares about creature types and naming a creature type. There's also Unclaimed Territory, which is actually from the original Ixalan set that essentially allows you to add a mana of any color to your mana pool to cast creature spells of the chosen type, and also taps for a colorless mana. Cavern of Souls just has this caveat essentially to stable to it that says that the spell can't be countered. While we don't necessarily see a lot of dedicated control decks to the format, we do have decks like decks like Blue White Spirits, where this kind of gets around all the things except for their dumb little spirit that I always forget the name of, Spell Queller. So it gets around every counter spell in that deck minus the Spell Queller. The Spell Queller could still capture it, but definitely with the expanded color range that you can kind of go with, mono white and mono white humans, like the elves decks, you have goblins, you have vampires and stuff that are a pretty decent archetype as well, can kind of spread out and play a second color, having now I believe 12 copies of a land that can produce a mana of any color. We can start kind of seeing some crazier like 2 and 3 color mana bases from some of these tribal decks. Getting to play around like counterspells, there's always, players playing around with like blue-white control. There's, again, the spirits, as we had mentioned before. So there's some utility against those decks, but I think the real important thing is the fact that it is another land that you're going to be able to play 4 copies of that is going to add a mana of any color and promote some of these other aggressive type strategies and stuff. While I don't think very likely, we could see some other big threat decks playing Cavern of Souls strictly on the fact of like making creatures like uncounterable. We see it in the modern format with the Titan decks, where they are able to kind of like bounce and reset their Cavern of Souls to kind of fit, the plethora of creature types and stuff that they're playing. So at least from that standpoint, we are able to, maybe get something like that. But I think obviously the more likely and kind of the intention of Cavern of Souls is promoting the tribal themes of some of these decks. Now, if you look at prices of Cavern of Souls now, I'm pretty sure they're still pretty expensive. Like I've always looked at getting like a place at a Cavern of Souls and cried every time because I'm like, I'm gonna wait till they go down. They just keep going up in price. Cavern of Souls prices are definitely not going to stick around super high. We saw it with Liliana of the Veil, where we'd see her like a $40-$50 card, upwards of like $100, years ago, and slowly coming down, being printed in standard, now being super affordable, and of course in a different styles. We could see Cavern of Souls getting the same treatment, being printed in a standard set where boosters are pretty cheap compared to some of the other supplemental products that we see that are meant for, modern and for just like the collectors and stuff like that. So definitely could see Cavern Souls going down in price at least a week or two after the set's released. And of course, depending on its impact on like the Pioneer format, it could definitely see a further dip in price from there. But I definitely see people tooling around and playing with some of these Cavern Souls decks. Of course, we have plenty of humans. A lot of like the 5-color human stuff, that we'd seen in Modern was from a lot of creatures and stuff that were printed very recently, and I want to say even Pioneer legal as well. So we could definitely see, some kind of like 4 or 5 color pile of like humans kind of running around and possibly doing some damage in the format as well. Notably, how aggressive that they can be. Of course, being short of something like an Aether Vial, we could see a lot more tribal decks in the near future when Cavern of Souls gets released. So those are my thoughts and opinions on Cavern Souls. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like on the video if you want to see me kind of judge the impact, go over some other cards and stuff that are, potentially illegal in the Pioneer format, things like that. Even Modern as well. So feel free to leave suggestions in the comments of the video, join the Discord server, and shout me out over there as well. I would greatly appreciate it. That's going to do it for me. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you all in the next one.